I really do wish I would have bought these fragrances much sooner than I did. It's very easy in this day and age to get lost in the shuffle and get caught up with all of the new releases that are being pumped out month after month. And sometimes some older, more original edition fragrances will get left in the dust and you might forget about them because you're too busy buying up a lot of the new flankers. Now, not all of these are like first edition starts to the line, but some of these, for whatever reason, in my eyes, kind of got pushed back a ways. Even though they were getting talked about from time to time, I never really jumped on them as quick as I have with many others. And now, hindsight is 2020, I really enjoy these and I wish I would have gotten them sooner because then I would have been able to enjoy them for a longer period of time and I would have been able to spend even more time with them at this point. I am glad that I have these in my collection now, but I do wish I would have gotten them a little bit sooner on. Now, this first one is Tom Ford for Men. So this is one of kind of like the first edition, releases of a brand new flourishing fragrance line, I guess is one way you could look at it. I mean, it's just their bespoke men's fragrance. Tom Ford for men, pour homme, whatever. I mean, that's pretty bare bones right here. So this one's been out for a long time, and in, the world of all of the private blends, which are pretty trendy and a lot of them are hyped up, and then even the new Signature series and some of the gray vetivers and all of that, this is one that I put off for a very long time. I always had it on my watch list, but it took a while. This one here has lemon, tobacco leaf, cedarwood, and many more notes. There is a lot more than that, but we'll just kind of keep it easy here and keep it pretty basic. It's a citrusy, woody, smoky, ambery men's fragrance, and this is a true gentleman's classic. There's nothing young and new and trendy about this one. This smells a little bit more old school, but not too much. It just kind of is a different style for a different time period, but I still think it does hold up great even now in 2024. The remarkable thing about this one is it's been popping up lately for 60 bucks, 58, 59, $60. I've never seen a Tom Ford fragrance below 100, much less in the $50 to $60 range. Each time it did, I sent out a notification to my mailing list and my texting list, and it sold out pretty quick both times. Now, I had mine before that was popping up, so I've had it for a little while now. Those deals there were happening more so recently, so a lot of you guys probably were able to pick one up for the first time at that crazy low price. But before that, and by the way, I did pay more than that for this, it was one that I wanted to get at some point, but I never really pulled the trigger on it until finally I got it. And I think I'm kind of gearing up for a buying guide video. We'll just have to see how that plays out. I'm kind of slowly putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, but Tom Ford Pour Homme is one that I love. I'm happy to have this one. Such a gentleman's classic. Man, that smells good. And it's something that's so refreshing and really kind of just resets your palate, so to speak. It's so easy to get lost in all the sweet, new style, blue fragrances and aromatic, sage, ambroxan fragrances, right? This is something that's just a little bit more classic in a great way. Next up, we have Replica Jazz Club. This is a pretty big hype beast. I mean, I would say probably this and By the Fireplace are two of the most popular, talked about, sought after replica fragrances. And I got By the Fireplace first and kind of got a few more from there, Under the Lemon Tree and a couple other random ones. And Jazz Club is one of the newer additions to my collection in terms of these. I've had this for a while now, but in terms of me purchasing replica scents, this one was further on down the line, and I would say a lot of people probably start out with this one. It's got tobacco, rum, and vanilla, and on the front it is kind of giving you a little descriptor as they normally do. And I think that's a pretty cool concept, and I would say that this does a pretty good job of representing the picture that they're trying to paint here. It's kind of not as boozy and smoky though as you might expect it to be, even though they're listing off these notes. It's not overbearing. I mean, there are plenty niche fragrances out there that are way more heavy and smoky and boozy and smell like you just dumped alcohol or bourbon all over yourself, right? This is still a designer, so they have this one pretty tame, but again, it does do a pretty good job of kind of painting that picture in your head, at least what they're trying to do here. And so I do like it. Not one of my favorite boozy scents. I think there are better ones out there. I think there are some better tobacco scents out there, but I do still really like this one. And I think for the price, for the fact that it is still designer level, it's a great one. And I wish I would have gotten it a little bit sooner on, but it was just one of those deals where I didn't for some reason. Next up, we have Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Eau de Toilette. So this line is flourishing. It's ever expanding. Like they just recently launched or announced, what is it, L'Homme Ideal Parfum, which I'm super excited about. You guys know I love this lineup. But this is the original. This is where it all started. This almond, unique, masculine DNA kicked off right here. And I kind of got into it with Cologne, the Eau de Parfum, and then from there, the Extreme when that came out, and then picked up Sport somewhere along the way, got Cool along the way as well. This is not necessarily in any particular order, but I started backwards, and of course can't forget L'Intense, right? Got that one too. But I started at the end, and then I've kind of worked my way back, and then eventually got the Eau de Toilette. I wish so badly I would have picked this one up sooner. It is so easy to sleep on, getting caught up in all these other releases, but the good old Eau de Toilette is unbeatable. It's a little bit lighter than the Eau de Parfum and the Extreme, but it's not as fresh as Cologne or Sport or Cool or Platine Privé or anything like that. It's a really, really good balance. It's also one of the most affordable ones as well. This stuff is not unreasonable at all. You can get these big 150 mLs for a great price. The standard 100s are going for a good price too. Worth picking up. Don't wait around on this. Next up, we have Polo Blue Gold Blend. It's an Eau de Parfum, as you can see right there on the front of the bottle, possibly. Sharp looking bottle. I love the gold accenting, which of course matches the name and everything. This one has ginger, citron, incense, patchouli, smoky, citrusy, a little bit fruity from this mango accord, but not a ton. It's heavier, richer, has a lot more depth, it's more interesting, and it's stronger than the original Polo Blue. For me, the original Eau de Toilette is not one that is ever in my rotation. I just think there are better options out there like Polo Blue Parfum, Polo Deep Blue, and Polo Blue Gold Blend. I would say this one is pretty heavily slept on. A lot of people are caught up in the others. And also, a lot of people are just not really spending a whole lot of time thinking about the Polo Blue line in general, even though they're releasing these new flankers and stuff. It kind of has passed its time in one way or another, and it's not in the spotlight like it used to be. There are a lot of other scents out there from Ralph Lauren that are just getting more talk in general. But Gold Blend is one that is probably easy to overlook. It might just look kind of like a filler release and something a bit boring, but I do think this one is really pleasant, and I do prefer it much more than the original. Next up, we have Bond number 9, New Harlem. This stuff is fantastic. Coming from a coffee gourmand lover like myself, this is something that I wish I would have gotten years ago because it's been out for a long time. Now, kind of to give myself some leniency here, there was a point where I was wanting to buy it, but you guys might remember this one was out of stock, and it wasn't like, just out of stock on discounters and I was being too cheap to buy it at retail. Like they were having a production issue with this one. So on their website, retail, discounter, eBay, sold out everywhere. And then finally they got things rolling again, popped back up at retail, and then started popping back up at discounters shortly after. So finally I was able to get my bottle. I tried sooner on. So part of that was not my fault, but also I could have bought it before they had that production issue. So ultimately, I'm really happy to have it now because there's nothing else like this in my collection that I've tried, and it doesn't even come close. It actually smells like pancakes and syrup and coffee. It smells like breakfast. It is the most bizarre thing. I'm telling you guys, this is something unique to experience. And so with that description, there's going to be a lot of people who I lost right there. Not everybody wants to walk around smelling like you dumped syrup and coffee all over yourself. And guys, it really does have just that overbearing sweetness. This is not for everybody. That should go without saying, but I'll go ahead and put it out there again. Use some caution when blind buying this one. And, if you can sample it first, that would be a great idea. But coming from someone, again, who really likes gourmands, and I just like something new and unique and refreshing, just kind of in an exciting way, this stuff is it, and I love it. For whatever reason, I've never been a, Bond number 9 collector. Like, I only have 2, New Harlem and Bleecker Street. I would like to pick up a few more, but I never really got into them super heavily. But that one there is really good. Next up, we have Roberto Cavalli Noble Woods. This one's got cedar, cardamom, some black pepper in here. Love the bottle. You guys might know Roberto Cavalli from, the Uomo line, the original. But then there's also things like, what is it? Uomo La Notte, Uomo Silver Essence, Uomo Deep Desire. A lot of them are discontinued. Really, the only one that you can get with relative ease is the original Uomo in the black bottle. It's like $35 to $40. It's great, but some of the other flankers are better. It's just, again, hard to find them. And this one here is a bit more expensive, but it's easier to find. It's, as far as I'm aware, in production. If not, it's just in stock. And so definitely one that I wish I would have picked up a little bit sooner on. It's kind of just another one of those out of the spotlight deals where I would see it here and there and want it, but it would never be priority until finally I decided to grab it, and it's great. If you're into strong, woody, powerful, high quality scents, and you just want a great bang for your buck, almost niche style designer, this is worth trying. Dior Higher Energy is up next. Again, guys, Sauvage and the Dior Homme line, it shadows everything else. It really does. Not that they're adding to the Dior Homme line as much as Sauvage right now. They every now and then release a new sport. That's kind of the extent of it. But still, Uomo or Homme Intense, Dior Homme Parfum, all of those, they still get a ton of talk. And of course, Sauvage Elixir and all of the others, right? You don't really think about these much, these more kind of older school classics, but this one is great. It's got juniper berries, pineapple, nutmeg, cedar wood, and a lot of other notes. I also have Dior Higher, so there's Higher and there's Higher Energy. Both are great. I wish I would have gotten both sooner on, but I really like Higher Energy. Nice, bright, fresh, woody, aromatic, just masculine, gentlemanly scent. This stuff is impressive. It doesn't have the same type of, compliment factor or excitement appeal that Sauvage has. And it doesn't have the same type of addicting iris sweetness that, Dior Homme Intense and Parfum has. So it's a little bit harder for this one to stand out, but it is really nice. And honestly, on discounters, it's usually around $80, which is affordable for Dior. Typically, their offerings are 100 plus. The last one I wish I would have gotten a little bit earlier on was Naxos by Xerjoff. I don't know what it was, but I just never spent the money. And it's weird because Naxos is one of the more affordable Xerjoff fragrances. Typically on discounters, it's $180. But again, this is a 100 milliliter bottle. A lot of Xerjoff fragrances are, around 150, 160, 170, 180, let's say this, 150 to $200, but for 50 ml. Okay, so that's a big difference in price per milliliter. That's a lot more expensive. And so this one is, in the grand scheme of things, a little bit more obtainable, but for whatever reason, I just never got it all that soon, which is weird. Had clones and stuff of it and other things that smelled similar, but finally ended up getting a good deal on, of course, Naxos itself, and I wish I would have gotten it earlier on. The clones are great. I love them. And, for 30, 40 bucks to get something that smells like 180, 200 bucks, that's hard to beat, but it is also hard to beat the quality and the depth and complexity of Naxos itself. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. I wish I would have gotten these fragrances sooner on, but it is what it is, and I'm glad I have them now. Don't sleep on these. If you've been on the fence, maybe this is your sign to go ahead and give it a sample or give it a purchase. I'll link them down below. And again, for things like Tom Ford coming in stock for 58, 60 bucks, Paradise Garden, other new releases hitting discounters, rare discontinued fragrances hitting discounters as well. Like, I don't know, recently we've been having a lot of them. Issey Miyake, Nuit d'Issey Parfum. We've had Acqua di Gio Profumo come up. A lot of really good deals popping into stock here. And so if you want to be notified of those, jump on my mailing list and texting list at the link and number down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.